This is State of Washington versus Christopher Russell.
According to detectives, Christopher Fitzpatrick not only worked as her pimp, he's accused of having sex with 15-year-old Lily Christopherson.
I know.
Lily's mother, Lena Winters, feared for her daughter's safety ever since reporting her missing May 9th. A friend of Lily's told police Lily had been voluntarily spending time with another friend, an adult police later identified as Fitzpatrick. In addition to the sexual crimes, he's also accused of giving her drugs and taking naked pictures of her. When he was arrested at a Lakewood home last Saturday, police found a cell phone that had been smashed.
Promoting commercial sex abuse of a minor.
Detectives say most of what they learned about Fitzpatrick came from a former girlfriend, Marie Ann Count, who told them she and Fitzpatrick knew Lily had been reported missing, and they kept moving around the South Sound so they wouldn't be caught. What may have originally been considered a runaway case is now criminal.
It does not matter whether or not the victim willingly stepped into this world. She is underage, and any exploitation is a crime, and it's a crime we take extremely seriously.
I spoke with Lily's mother this afternoon. She said she's trying not to think about all the details she learned in this case this afternoon. She really wants her daughter brought home safe and as soon as possible. If you know anything about Lily's case, you're asked to call 911. Live in Tacoma, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.